Welcome back to Aubrey Books and Coffee. Please grab your favorite beverage of choice and join me. So back by popular demand, we are going to do another round of library treasure hunting. It ended up working so well last time. Found a new author to try, got a new enjoyment out of it, like new books I wouldn't have picked up otherwise. Couple of duds, but isn't that always the way? So now I'm really excited to go ahead and do this again. I'm glad you guys liked it. I did too. And let's definitely make sure we're supporting our local libraries, and that does that as well. So without further ado, let's do that first spin and see what we get. Ooh, my least favorite horror thriller. Oh, well, let's do the number generator and let's see where we go on the shelves. And it looks like 20. Ooh, good. I can count to 20. Let's go find the book. All right, so Take It Back by Kia Abdullah. Interesting. I've never read anything from this author. It sounds like it is definitely going to be a thriller of some kind. It looks like it's going to be like a legal thriller. So this will be interesting. Basically a young girl, so trigger warning, a young girl accuses boys that are very wealthy and have connections of doing the unthinkable, and she has to go to court for it, and apparently there's other things and threats that are happening, and so that's the thriller aspect of this. So it's going to be a court case and it's going to be a thriller, and I can handle this. This is the level of scary I can handle. I am about 25% into Take It Back, and it's heavy already. So this is the legal thriller, remember? And we have Zara, who's a lawyer, and she's got a brilliant mind, and so everybody expected her to go and do big, huge things and make tons of money. And instead, she's chosen to work for a kind of nonprofit organization that helps people that have had sexual violence against them. So make sure you look up trigger warnings on this one. And so one day she's at work and a 17-year-old girl comes in named Jody, and she tells her this horrific story of what happened to her with a group of boys. And so Zara's like, yes, I am 100% going to back you. We need to do tests and things like that, but I've got you. Because of course these boys are wealthy, come from good families, so it's going to be an uphill struggle. And so I've gotten that part of the story, and Zara unfortunately is she's part of a community that looks down on women in general, and like because she chose to do what she's doing instead of going for the money, her brother's always giving her a hard time and yelling at her and her mother, and just yeah, it's like a lot. So it's interesting to see culturally, you know, something different than what I grew up with, and so it's been interesting. I mean, the writing style is really good. I really am in it. Interested to see where it goes from here, what kind of crazy twist we're gonna get, because I know we're gonna get one. But so far at 25%, I am. It sounds weird to say I'm enjoying it because it is a hard topic, but I am enjoying it. I am now 50% into Take It Back, and it is getting ugly, guys. Like I shouldn't be surprised, but I am surprised at just how ugly everybody is. The media is a complete circus, and the victim is getting completely blamed. Although they are laying some groundwork here where I'm starting to wonder, did the girl make it up? And I hate saying that because I always want to side on believing. But the author is laying some stuff down that makes you kind of suspicious. So I'm still going to lean towards believing the girl and that this horrible thing happened to her. And I'm angry with the media. I'm angry with the girl's mother. I hate that it happened. But I'm wondering if that's not what the author's going to try to pull, is that the girl was actually lying. So I hope not, but we'll see. So I finished Take It Back. um, there were some twists and turns. Definitely worth reading. Just look at trigger warnings and be aware it's a heavier subject matter. I would say less thrillery than I thought it was going to be, but definitely courtroom drama and trying to figure out what the truth was and everything, and bad things that happen to people who are trying to represent people and stuff. And of course there's always politics involved and things like that. But yeah, it was definitely heavy, but it was well written. I'm not sorry I read it. I'm going to give it a 3-star. And I'm excited to go check out the new release shelf and see what I find over there. I'm 25% into Bury Your Gaze, and oh my gosh. So there's a lot. So along with him just trying to deal with corporate, like I talked about in my previous update, there's actual creatures from his movies now trying to attack him, like full on this, evil entity that he created for the screen is now coming after him and starting to attack his friends too. And it's not just one. There's at least 3 that they've talked about already. So I'm really scared for him, and oh my gosh. I am now 50% into Bury Your Gaze, and wow. So our main characters' creations are coming alive. They are just flat out coming after him, and there's countdowns and kind of like you got on The Ring, if you ever watched that movie. And it's involving his friends and his family, and it's getting intense. So I don't know, I'm kind of getting scared for him, but I am also still really appreciating the writing style. I'm appreciating the humor. I'm appreciating what Chuck Tingle's trying to say, and I'm still in it. I am really engrossed in it, but I'm scared for our main character. I'm 75% into Bury Your Gaze, and it's taken a sci-fi turn that I wasn't expecting, and it's weird. It's not quite slasher thriller that I thought it was going to be. It's more sci-fi strange. So I don't know how I'm going to feel about it at the end. So I finished Bury Your Gaze, and I'm going to give it a 3-star. I think I liked the first half of the book actually a little bit better than the second half. I enjoyed the suspense that there was. I enjoyed the message that he was, the author was telling us with this story. I feel like I'm not a huge fan of horror turned sci-fi though, for the reasoning. And so that's probably why it went downhill for me once that was established. But I would recommend it, and I did enjoy myself. So So the librarian actually recommended going to their shelf. Every librarian has a row, a shelf that they can put all their favorites on, and then like a catalog in case they're not there and one of their books is taken, then another one can go and be replaced there. And they have like a nice list that shows their usual favorites and things like that. So it was actually really kind of cool to see that shelving area. And so whenever I asked what her recommendation would be, she's like, I have just the one, go to my shelf. And so I filmed myself doing that. That's what you just saw in that clip. So I chose The Whispering Room by Dean Koontz. And I'm super excited about this one. I mean, it's a chunker, but I'm super excited, not only because I do enjoy Dean Koontz, but on top of it, I didn't even know it until I was looking into it. This is actually book 2. The first one was, I read it earlier, The Silent Corner. That was about the suicides. And so I've read and reviewed that in a previous end of the month video for you guys. But this is actually part 2 now. So we're continuing to follow Jane. And so it's very exciting. In this particular book, it says that we're going to be hearing about this absolutely horrible carnage that takes place by a teacher named Cora, who seemed by all accounts to be really sweet and dedicated to her students, but then goes on this like murder rampage and then kills herself, and her journal entries just don't seem to be adding up. And so of course Jane's taking the case and she's like, and so she's uncovering like this secret cabal that's going on and stuff. And so it just sounds really, really good. Totally understand why this book is so thick. And I'm excited to continue this series. And I think this is going to be a great recommendation. So I'm about 36% into The Whispering Room. And it's getting dark. Like, there are layers upon layers, and God love Jane for being willing to go through and do the grim work of getting to the bottom of things to see exactly what's happening with all of this stuff. And we're kind of seeing the behind the scenes more, and she's questioning people that she knows things to try to get to the heart of this. And the way she's questioning them is bloody and dirty, so better her than me, but it is it's really amping up already, and it's really good, and it's hard to know where it's going to go from here. I am now 50% into The Whispering Room, and our main character, Jane, has help. She has found an ally that can help her with this, but it has gotten weird. I don't want to ruin anything and spoil anything, but if you've watched The Manchurian Candidate, then you're a step ahead and ready for this, because the chaos that has ensued, the craziness that has ensued is just mind-boggling. And so I can't wait to see where they're going to go from here, because they've uncovered a lot of truths, but they have a very powerful tool in their arsenal that I'm hoping will help them. I'm now 75% into The Whispering Room, and now there's kids involved. Oh my gosh. Oh, this book is just weird. It's very slow. The pacing is very, very slow. I think this is an older Dean Koontz book, and if not, maybe he's getting tired. It's extremely slowly paced, but I'm not mad at it. I'm still into it, and I still am invested and want to know what's going to happen to Jane and the kids and her helpers. So, yeah, I'm still having a good time. It's still feeling very 3-star for me, but I'm not miserable. So I finally finished The Whispering Room, and I can totally see why the librarian had this as the recommendation, especially since I've already read book 1, and I do love me a good Dean Koontz. That being said, towards the tail end, it actually kind of felt like it was dragging on for me. And so there's even scenes with, I'm not going to spoil anything, but scenes with like apes and stuff. And it just got a little wild. And so I just was kind of like checked out by the very end. And I will not be continuing this series anymore, because this was your chance to keep me intrigued like I was in the very first one. And that didn't happen. So I'm not going to continue on Jane Hawk's mysteries anymore. But I wasn't miserable, so I'm going to give it a 3-star, and I'm not sorry I read it, but it's a good thing the other 2 books were a huge success. So once again, super enjoyed this library experience. I can't wait to spin and see what the next ones are going to be. Okay, so now that horror and thriller is, thank goodness, done, and we managed to escape without being too badly damaged, let's spin to see what we get for the next part of this vlog. And it looks like graphic novel. Okay. So our first spin got us graphic novel, which I am so excited about. And whenever I did the counting on down, as you saw in the video, we got to Final Girls, which has a really cool cover. I'm all for that. I know nothing about what this is about other than I think it's supposed to be superheroes, but they deal with really heavy concepts with politics and yeah, stuff like that. So that's all I know. I think you know what I'm going to say based on my face. I'm about 20 pages into it and I'm DNFing it. I can't. It's not my writing style. I just don't like it. I don't like the characters. I don't like the writing style. I'm not even crazy about the art. So just not for me. Okay, so I'm DNFing. I'm gonna try not to get crazy emotional about this. In Blankets, we're following 2 brothers. One's older by about 3 years. And it starts off really cute. You know, they're told that they have to share a bed in the same room, and they're fighting, they're hogging the covers. The other one won't stop, you know, rolling and moving and kicking. And so like brothers do, they're arguing about it and stuff. And it gets to a point where the smaller brother pushes the older brother out, and of course he falls on the floor, and up the stairs comes Dad because they're being noisy. And then it's not so funny anymore because Dad essentially removes a plank from the wall and shoves the younger brother into the small space filled with varmints and spiders and stuff. And he says, well, if you can't sleep with your brother quietly, then you'll sleep in here. And puts the board back up and leaves him in the dark for the night. And that was one level of awful and hard. But now we're seeing the older brother who's kind of reflecting on how he should have stood up for his younger brother more. But keep in mind, he's like 3rd grade. Like, the older brother's not that old. And he's at school, and like he's got these bullies picking on him, and then he's got a teacher who gives him an F on his paper, and isn't hearing the cry for help that's in that paper. And one of the stories that he told, that she said, this is absolute filth, you know, your parents are Christians, they would never allow this. And the story he's telling is about a babysitter that was babysitting him and his younger brother. And basically the babysitter is like, I have a funny joke, but I can only tell you guys one at a time. Let's go in this room, just one at a time. So I'm done. That's 30 pages in. And this is a almost 600 paged book. I'm not, nope, I'm out. I'm absolutely out. My heart goes out to everyone that's had to deal with something like that in real life, but I cannot, especially with children, especially since becoming a mom. My heart can't handle it. So, especially for what's supposed to be a fun vlog. So, anyway, unfortunately, 2 for 2 DNFing. So, here's hoping when I tell the librarian that hopefully he or she will give me a recommendation that is maybe a bit more uplifting. So I finished it. It is, it's cute. It's really cute. Basically, I'm glad that she recommended it because it gave me the warm fuzzies, and it's really sweet because it's following Tara, who is in middle school, and they're doing a project, or not project, a placement type of thing where they're saying, hey, several of our 7th graders are really advanced, so instead of going into 8th grade, let's go ahead and have them go into freshman year. And so they get to skip 8th grade. And she's one of the ones, and she's very scared and intimidated, and she's asking her older sister, like, what to expect of high school, and she's scared of the building and getting lost in the building, and a lot of her imagination. The artist did a really good job of coloring those pages red, so you know when it's her imagination going crazy. And basically it kind of feels like Ally McBeal, if you ever watch that TV show, as far as how crazy it gets. But it's just her kind of circumventing things and trying to figure things out. And she has a class that's just completely wild. It's just full of boys and they're going crazy. And she really thinks it's not for her. And she's really missing middle school and really wishing she could go back to 8th grade. And then she meets a friend. And little Miss Libby is just really excited to meet her. They have a lot in common, and they have a really good time together, and it's just really sweet. They're kind of hanging out as friends, and her figuring out that some of the older kids that are doing things, she's just not ready for that, and it's okay to not do all the things the older kids are doing just because she's in high school. So it really is sweet. It has a lot of good moments in it. A lot of silly things, but a lot of really, really sweet moments. So I think I'm going to give this probably a 3-star overall, and I had a good time, and I would recommend it. All right, so once again, we found some treasures and some duds. It happens, right? But I really had a good time. I'm loving that I get to know these librarians better and better. I love getting to see what they think their taste is that would match my loved and hated whenever I present it to them. And I'm getting to see more of the library. I'm starting to get more familiar with the stacks by going up and down and trying to figure out how to find things. I grew up doing Dewey Decimal. Doesn't mean I have it memorized up here. So again, it was just so much fun, and I had a good time. The librarians had a good time. I hope you had a good time. Let me know down below your favorite library pick that you've had lately, and I will see you next time.